Morning.
Aren't we lucky we had 5 Sundays this month? So we get like an extra bonus week. That's how I feel. You know how it's easy to get kind of programmed when you hear something over and over again, even when you're not really paying attention. And as you may or may not know, that the church has its accounts at Capital One, and you all know their tagline, "What's in your wallet?" Whether you bank there or not, you've heard that before. It's passed into the general cliche pool. Well, of course, as a woman, I was thinking, wallet? You mean my big satchel that weighs about 30 pounds? Because we always find a way. Now, like today, I switched to a small purse. And of course, half of the things I want are not in there, even though I put in everything I thought I needed. Because I'm used to this big old satchel full of stuff, to the extent that you go to the doctor and they weigh you, then they weigh your purse. Because they want to fuss at you about why. My back hurts. Well, what do you expect? You're carrying 40 pounds on one side. We do this, we know better, but we feel like we need all of that. So when switching to the smaller purse, I'm trying to think, okay, what is essential? I'm going to cut it down just to what I need. Yeah, right. That takes longer than putting it in there, right? And then there's always one more thing you go back for. So that was what I was thinking about when I talked about what's in your toolbox today. Because we always want to have ourselves mentally and emotionally feeling like we're prepared for whatever's going to come up. And what's going to come up, right? We've all had those days that are maybe 1% what we thought they were going to be. And the whole 99, I'm not saying good or bad, I'm just saying different, right? Change is part of life. If you're not changing, you're not alive, right? So change is good. So I thought about one of the first things, particularly in a teaching such as unity, to me would be contemplation. We don't have a creed that you have to sign on the dotted line and say, I believe these words in this order, or else we don't operate that way. We believe that the God in you is in concert with your soul, is inside of you trying to communicate. It's another C word. You are given the authority in your life so that it shall be with you. So you contemplate those things that are in your mind. We don't tell you, you must believe this way. Now, we have the advantage of all of the sages, all of the many spiritual seekers that have come before. But we don't tell you that you have to believe it this way in these words in this order. You are to contemplate that in your quiet time and figure out what's true for you. Just because I'm up here and I say something, my mouth is no prayer book. It's a mouth just like yours. All these other people that came before are human beings just like you. And if they had an insight into something, good, make use of it. But make it yours. Don't accept it just because so-and-so said it, no matter who the so-and-so is. We are called to have a personal relationship with Spirit. That's why it keeps knocking at your heart. You can't get away from it. There's something that keeps coming back and making you question or notice things or feel things. Contemplate, take time to really feel what's going on with that in you. Because your truth has to be your truth, not my truth, not Unity's truth, not anybody else's, not even Jesus' truth. Maybe the Christ's truth. But no other human being has any more access to God than you do. Right now, anytime you choose. Because God is always there. Always there, just awaiting our recognition, our desire to get in touch with that. So take advantage of it. That's the first tool you have. And you have that with you all the time. All it takes is a moment to stop and get in touch with that. And really contemplate what's going on with you. What are you feeling? What's happening in your, what's the truth beneath this surface that's always there? Another C word that I would propose is compassion. It's very easy to judge in this world, especially ourselves. Because we have some standard that we think this is right, and well, you shouldn't, and I shouldn't, and they shouldn't. But compassion means to feel with. God is a verb. God is action. God is motion. So when we judge, we freeze things in time. If I'm judging that this is not right, I'm talking about what it is now. Who knows what it's going to be 10 minutes from now, a year from now. In time, the relationship of this thing to everything else changes. So what I see is not right is a partial picture, by definition, because everything is part of a greater whole. And I personally, as an individual, do not know all of the mind of God. All of the mind of God knows me. But God is much bigger than one person. God is much bigger than our human mind can possibly completely understand. Now, we may completely feel it. But this little brain doesn't necessarily hold, even the brain cells in your stomach. You know, they found brain cells in your stomach. That gut feeling is real. Really? The ancients used to think that the mind was in the stomach. They really did. But they've actually found brain cells that communicate with these brain cells. So when we think with our whole being, not just our intellect. But that's why you get into feelings as well. Sometimes your feelings don't match what your brain is telling you. That's a good time to stop and contemplate, because that means that all the parts of you are trying to communicate. And compassion is that softening of judgment, and you feel that with your whole body. And you become part of the body of Christ in that you are letting yourself feel with another. That's what compassion means. You're feeling with. So take time to let the judgment go. Don't call yourself, oh, you stupid thing. Why'd you do that? We say some mean things to ourselves sometimes. Let that go. You're a verb. You're a process. So we can't judge, because judge is putting it in a nail in it and stopping it. Everything is emotion. Everything is vibration. Everything is energy. And that includes you. So give yourself the gift of, as I call it, the gift of yet. I don't know yet. I can't do that yet. Allow yourself the openness of the future, the openness of possibilities. Because the God we know, the God that made not only this universe, but any possible universe, anything that could possibly be. We were talking about that this morning. All those possibilities are those science fiction things. In some universe, that's real. That just isn't the one that we know right now. Could be this universe, but we don't know it right now. We don't know it yet. So allow yourself the possibilities of being greater than, because it is there for you if you so choose. So the next tool that I would contemplate would be here and now. To be here and now means that you're letting go of that, because judgments are always based on some other standard that is not here. The saying that this is less than is recognizing something that you do not see here. Do not see here. Does not mean it's not here, but we don't necessarily see those greater standards. If you're here and now, you know that here and now is people just like you, the same kind of energy, wanting, everybody basically wants the same thing, right? We want to be healthy, whole, secure, liked, loved. We want to have hope for the future. We want to have peace in the past. Basically, we all have these same gestalts. So what's here are expressions of God, just like you. And we are all growing toward our greater yet to be, just like you. So you're in family, you're in friends, you're with other I am that I am. There's that connection before you even know each other too deeply. You have a basic connection, a spiritual connection, and we are sharing those spiritual energies just by being in each other's presence. If you are here and now, the worry falls away, because worry is worrying about the future. That's energy, fear is projected into the future. Guilt and shame falls away, because that's about the past. Here and now, it's all perfect. It's all complete. God is here and now. All of God. A lot of times, because we live in these little chunks of time, we have a tendency to think of, well, I just have this much God here now. I need to get in touch with God. God is right here. You don't have to get in touch with anything. If anything, your mind and spirit have to get in touch, but God is right there in you as you. And that will never change. Your connection with God cannot be broken. You don't have to go somewhere. You just have to tune in. You don't have to be in a particular place or physical setup. You can be laying on your back in the grass. You can be huddled in a corner. Your physical body isn't it. It's what you're doing. It's what you're doing inside. And that takes a split second. So know that you've always got that connection, and that's what's holding you up. That's what you hold on to. Whenever you feel any kind of shakiness, any kind of worry or shame or guilt or any of those kinds of emotions, hold on to that knowledge that God, all of God, is right here where you are. And it's in your heart. When we say heart, again, the ancients used to think that was right here in your solar plexus. And it's not in that lump that's beating in your chest. I'm talking about you, and you are not your body. You are much more than your body. But the heart of you, that's where the gold is. The heart of you, that's the part that when you think of me inside, that's what I'm talking about. That recognition, because there's in you a recognition that knows that God is all there is. You know this in your heart. This kind of gets in the way sometimes. But that connection can never be broken. This is what's really real. Now, as the child of two teachers, my next tool is always going to be reading. You know, it's really remarkable to live in the world of the internet when you think about it. You know, people are on TV making speeches, and by the time they say thank you and the audience starts clapping, all of those words are out there for you. You can print it out, analyze it, and turn it around, tweet it, and all this stuff. I mean, instantaneous. And we're talking worldwide. It used to be our knowledge of the world was just where we could walk, 10 miles that way, 10 miles that way. That's a mountain, maybe only 5 miles that way. I mean, that was the world. But now we have places that we can never even hope to see that are right there on our TV, or even don't need to get up and turn it.
To judge them.
Yeah, see there? And we are looking from where we are, looking at a totally different reality. I mean, imagine the reality, for example, there's so many places in the world, unfortunately, where people our age have never been in a world without war. Their entire life, they have had to worry about being shot every day. We haven't experienced that. I'm from Chicago, and I can say that. We haven't had to live like that. We don't know. I mean, we hear all that stuff at New Year's and such, but that is not our world. We have so many blessings. Even to be able to sit here openly, together, and worship the way we want, not the way the state said. That's an amazing blessing across the planet. And as we read, we can contemplate at the same time, because you want to feel, you want to get into not only what you think about things, but what are you feeling about things? What's that intuition? And that's my next letter, I, intuition. Because there's always something in you that's trying to teach you something, trying to give you a little bit more insight, give you a little bit more flavor, or help you turn a fact this way and see it from a different angle. There's always that inner teaching, that little inner voice that's trying to say, hey, I got a little more for you, a little insight. And I don't care who you are, even a toddler has that insight, that inner teaching. We talk about out of the mouths of babes. Well, that's where that comes from. They've got it too. They're connected to God. So never discount those little inner directions. Take time, contemplate, think about it. Because that just might be God trying to tell you something. It could be your ego tripping out too. That happens. But that's why we contemplate. That's why we stop and think about things before we say them or act on them. Because we want to be sure we're always acting from our highest and best. So just take a moment. Doesn't take long. Look at what you're about to say. Look at what you're feeling. And see, is this in my highest and best? Is this divine order? And there's that in you which knows. That intuition will not leave you. And if you're not sure, having done all, stand. You don't have to say it right now. You don't have to do it right this second. Give yourself a chance to filter everything through the highest and best in you, because that awareness is always there and it will never leave you. You always have that inner voice. You always have that inner teaching. You always have that inner connection to God. Can't be broken, no matter what you do. The worst thing you think of, God's still there. You've always got it. Of course, we have to seek it. If we don't look for it, it'll be back there saying, hey! And we'll be saying, I'm not listening, I'm doing this. And that doesn't always work out. Yeah, we have choice, and we have the freedom to choose things that are not for our highest and best. But there's always that intuition, that inner teaching that's trying to give us some sort of guidance, some sort of little bit of push toward that will make things better for us and everyone else. But we have to seek it. We have to take that moment, that split second, to run everything through what I call a God filter. To see, I don't do what Jesus would do, because Jesus was a person. I do what the Christ would do. Because the Christ in you, this is my tagline at the end, is the hope of glory. You want to contemplate and have compassion. You want to really hear what's going on. You want to read and get more knowledge of what's out there. We take advantage of having the internet and being able to read things from 4,000 years ago and farther. So there's a reason why you're alive here in this now, where you can do that. We are here to do more things, different things, than those whose life was inscribed in a 20 square mile radius. We are empowered with knowledge of the whole world, the past, and many possible futures that couldn't even be contemplated just 50 years ago. Think about the position of yourself in history, not just on the planet, but in time. We're very privileged. So knowing that you are energy, anytime you think, you're putting out energy. You're reinforcing something. Somebody who sits in a place of hatred and is putting out thoughts of hatred is increasing that kind of energy in the world and around themselves. So if you're thinking things of, we're all people on the planet, we all want basically the same things, we can get along. That's a very different thought form than, they're different and I don't like them. It's a very different thought form. What about the thought form that says, I don't really know that much about that that's happening over there, but I know that I want a world that works for everyone, that doesn't judge anybody, that doesn't put anybody down, it takes nothing away from anyone, but it increases the chance of peace on the planet. Your thinking is important. You make a difference in the vibration of the world. And of course, I can't go to tea without saying Thanksgiving. You know, some days you just get so happy just to be alive, you know, especially with these nice spring days, you know. You don't even have to be doing something, just enjoying the isness, the beingness. That increases that feeling in your world, because remember, you draw to you what you put out. So even if you don't have a thing or situation or a person that you think you can give thanks for, you might be in that place where it's just none of it's working. But you're here. Give thanks for that. And if something isn't working for you, give thanks that you know it can be better. There are some people who don't know it can be better, who are in a place where the world looks so totally dark that they don't know it can be better. Your dissatisfaction may be your divine key to get out of that situation. It might be something that's supposed to be that little burr under the saddle that's going to irritate you enough to get up and do something about it. So don't judge it as bad. Take time to contemplate. Take time to really examine it and see what this is here for. Because even those things that we consider to be impediments or discomforts or whatever you want to name them, have a good in them, because it's all from God. It's all God. So all the things that we might have said are negative, if you take time to really look at them, you'll find your blessing. So see, compassion, contemplate. H, your heart. Make sure you pay attention to what you're hearing. R, what's really happening? What's reality? Read. Gather in your information. Make sure you've got more of a whole picture of what's going on. Use that inner teaching, your intuition. Use your intelligence. There's a reason why you're made the way you are, to vibrate towards certain things. If your interest is in candle flames, there's a reason why that's what you're interested in. Take time to give praise to your creator and how you were made, because the things that make you an individual are just as important. There's a reason why you have certain instincts. You're drawn toward certain fields. Give praise to that. Bless that. Follow that. Make sure that you are seeing what's going on. Make sure that you are seeking the more behind the scenes, not just the surface of things. Make sure that you are taking time to see through the eyes of God, because you can in everything. Spirit will guide you, because that spirit is always there within you. You are so connected. There's no way for you to let it go. Give thanks. Give thanks just to be. And the more you appreciate, even you just appreciate being, all these things that you appreciate, they increase in your life. And that's what I think it means when we say Christ in you, your hope of glory. Namaste.